Today's video, I want to talk about something that I get asked pretty often from producers, especially recently because I had a beat that I posted on Spotify that in the past 3 months has gotten over 80,000 streams. And I've had a lot of questions from you guys, asking me advice for, should I post my own beats on Spotify? How do you post your beats on Spotify? And all that stuff I'm going to cover in this video. But if you guys are new here, my name is Omido. I'm a 23-year-old music producer who makes and sells beats for a full-time gig. And I made this YouTube channel to share information, tips, strategies that I've learned, and just to take you guys along with this journey with me. So please hit that subscribe button. All right, so let's talk about Spotify. I will start off this video by saying, I think it is important that every producer out there, if you're a beat maker, a producer, whatever you want to call yourself, to have your music on Spotify. And there's a lot of different reasons why I think this, but I think that one of the biggest reasons is because there's such a big opportunity right now. And I think it's almost unclaimed. And I'll explain what I mean by that. So if we look at platforms like, Spotify, for example, as a consumer, as a regular user of Spotify, I like Spotify because it has so many playlists. I mean, they have like an infinite amount of playlists, and what's good about their playlists is that they're really diverse. So you can look for a playlist for anything. I know that a lot of people like listening to chill instrumental beats, when they're doing work or just, hanging out. If you're like me, I can't really pay attention when, someone is singing or rapping and I'm trying to do work. So when I'm like working on marketing or graphic design or whatever in the day, I put on these instrumental playlists to listen to. And a lot of people do too, because if you look at Spotify, you'll see that some of these instrumental beats, if you're looking up like the lo-fi or chill ones, they have like hundreds of thousands of followers. And these playlists no doubt get a ton of people listening to them every single day. So this is why it's so important, because there's so many opportunities for you to get your songs in these playlists. And I will say another thing that's really great about Spotify that helped me get my beat to over 80,000 plays in the past 3 months is because Spotify they do a really great job of basically making playlists for the listener, like your release radar or your Discover Weekly playlist. And that's actually something that kind of worked in my favor with this last beat that I uploaded. So just for some context, I made this kind of chill instrumental boom bap style beat. I posted it on Spotify. I sent it out to all my followers, got a lot of plays right away. And then after about, a month and a half, it kind of died off. No one was listening to it anymore. But then out of nowhere, it got added back into a lot of people's Discover Weekly playlist on Spotify. And out of nowhere, when I thought this, beat had kind of, reached a plateau, it started getting like 2,000 plays a day for about a week or a week and a half, which is crazy because just kind of unexpectedly, I made like $50 probably off of that beat. And that's, higher than some of my leasing options. So you can see here, if it works out and you get into a playlist, you can make more money off of streams than you do off of leasing beats. I also think it's so important for producers to upload their beats on the Spotify because people should be able to listen to your music easily. I mean, sometimes people ask me for advice about how to sell beats or get their beats in more, in front of more people. And then when I look at their Instagram profile, it's like I can't even find your beats, like where are you posting them, right? I know as a producer, a lot of us probably think that the go-tos are YouTube or SoundCloud or BeatStars, which I know a lot of producers do, and that's, where a lot of traffic definitely comes from. But having your music on Spotify or Apple Music or Tidal, I don't think it's something that should be overlooked. I think that people should be able to listen to your music as easily as they can listen to Drake or, Future or Young Thug or whatever. It should be that easy to listen to your music. Plus, if people want to listen to your beats on the go, like, in the car, if they want to, listen to it out for a jog, out to the gym, freestyle it, it should be really easy for people to find your music. And another reason why it's so good to have your music on these streaming platforms is because the payout rate that streaming platforms pay is a lot higher than YouTube. And hopefully I don't get in trouble for mentioning this on YouTube, but I know that Spotify pays like 0.00 for roughly cents per every stream, where YouTube pays about 0.0006. So it's like a fraction of what Spotify plays. And there are other things like Tidal or Apple Music that gives you even more, money per play of your song. So I know a lot of producers often kind of wonder, like, how do I get more views on my YouTube videos? If you're worrying about, or instead if you focus that as to how do I get more streams on my beats on these streaming platforms, it's like you can, have less streams but earn more money on these platforms. I think a lot of people kind of overthink it, and I was the same too for a while, until I realized how many people upload instrumental songs there. Even if you're not a producer, think of yourself as an instrumental musician for a few minutes, because there's a lot of Spotify playlists out there just for instrumental rock, instrumental like EDM, instrumental pop, even just guitar songs. It doesn't need to be just limited to beats, but since we're all beat makers and we're all music producers, we know how to make instrumental content. I want to get into some things that you should and you shouldn't be doing when posting your beats on Spotify, because I do get this question a lot. People ask me, should I upload my tagged beats to Spotify? The same as I would YouTube, the same as I do on BeatStars, the same as I do on SoundCloud. Like, I guess, a lot of people want to protect their beats on Spotify. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, if you're posting your stuff on Spotify, do not add voice tags into them. And let me explain, because I know a few people are going to be kind of surprised at that. But with Spotify, as I mentioned earlier, think of yourself as an instrumental musician. You want to make beats, or you want to have your beats on Spotify that people can listen to kind of casually in the background, because some people might find your stuff on there and they might not necessarily be a rapper or a singer. So if there's a voice tag, I don't know, I feel like it's gonna kind of throw them off, when there's all these other, music producers, lo-fi beat makers who post stuff on Spotify just for listening purposes, and they don't have any voice tags in it, because a lot of people aren't trying to sell those beats at the same time, but I don't know, it's still instrumental stuff that people can listen to. So I don't think you should add voice tags to your beats. Also, it's a lot harder to, rip a beat off of Spotify like it is YouTube or SoundCloud. I am aware of all those, YouTube to MP3 and stuff like that. There's not really an easy way for Spotify. At least I don't think there's one that a lot of people know how to do. So I don't think you should be worried about people stealing your songs off of Spotify. Another thing that I want to mention too is that if you're posting your beats on Spotify, a lot of the streaming platforms, I think they have mixed opinions with beats. And this is why, I keep recommending to think of yourself as an instrumental musician, because Spotify, they love instrumental musicians. They don't really like unfinished tracks. Like, if you're putting out a beat tape on Spotify and you're calling it like beat 1, Drake type beat, this type beat, whatever, I don't think Spotify really likes that, because Spotify wants songs. So if you're thinking of your beats all of a sudden as instrumental songs, I think you're gonna have a lot more success, which is why when I post my beats on Spotify, I don't necessarily call them like Drake type beat. It's a different marketing tactic than I use on YouTube, but what I do is I kind of compile them into instrumental albums, so to speak. That way I can have a lot more success when I try and pitch these albums to, playlist curators or Spotify or stuff like that, because it looks like I'm just a guy who makes instrumental beats. I'm not just someone looking to sell my stuff online, right? And another question I get asked a lot is, what do I think when somebody buys exclusive rights to a beat? Should I remove it on Spotify if I already have it on there? And I would say, like, of course it's dependent, like every agreement might be different. Some artists might want the beat completely removed offline. A lot of the clients that I work with, rappers and singers who buy exclusive rights to my beat, they just want the beat to be marked as sold on my YouTube channel and removed from my website. Like, they don't want anyone to be physically able to buy that beat. But if it's on YouTube for listening purposes, it's still okay, because people can't rip it off of YouTube because there's a voice tags. That's why I think if you have it on Spotify, it's not a big concern, because people can't rip that off of Spotify and use it in their own recordings. It's a lot more difficult. So with my beats, like, yeah, I've sold exclusive rights to some beats, and I still have the beats on Spotify just for listening purposes, because I know that a lot of people out there, there are people out there who listen to my stuff and they don't have an interest in rapping or singing, but they do, like instrumental music. I'll wrap up this video by showing you guys just some stats, just for some proof of why I think it's important for producers to be, on these streaming platforms. I have my Distrokid earnings page up here, and you can see that I've made about $900 from streaming platforms. And yeah, I know it's been like 4 years since I've been on here, but a few months ago this number was only at like 300. I've started to kind of focus more of my attention toward it and really start to play that Spotify game. It's also good for producers to have a knowledge of streaming platforms and at least have kind of a presence on there, because what you can also do is collaborate with artists, and it makes it a lot easier if you're knowledgeable about how music gets released. So I hope that this video answered some of your guys' questions. If you have any more questions, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you guys are wanting to get your music on Spotify, the website that I use is called distrokid.com. I love it. I know a lot of producers and a lot of people who make music themselves use Distrokid. What I love about it is how it's so easy. I find it really user friendly. You don't really have to think about a lot of stuff. You just upload your music once, gets on all the streaming platforms, and yeah, you keep all your earnings from it. I will include a discount link in the description if you guys want to sign up for it. It's like 19 or 20 bucks a year or something like that, or it might even be cheaper. I'm Canadian, so I think the prices might be higher. But yeah, no, it's really cheap to get your music on these streaming platforms, which is why I think, if you're paying $20 and you have all these opportunities, of your song to get picked up by these playlists, then why not, right? So anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I will answer all your questions, and I will chat soon. Take care.